Saunders?
Let's do this. Mr. Saunders.
Sukadova, Joe Terry,
Call to order.
Victor Ortega. I'm ready.
Okay, call to order. Immediately says council, if all rise for a moment of silence, and Vice Mayor, if you'll lead us in the pledge.
I pledge
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. Good.
Looks good. If I'd like to also make a motion to excuse Eric Hernandez.
Okay, got a motion. Can I get a second? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Councilwoman Flynn, any questions?
Oh, no, it looks good, thank you.
Good on the agenda.
Agenda's fine, yeah.
Scott?
I am fine with the agenda. One thing, though, that we should do is the Shepherd's Landing items, which were originally intended to be this evening. It turns out there wasn't adequate time to advertise it for tonight, so it's been pushed to January 6th. Everybody's that we could has been notified, but it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of people here. But if there's anybody that's in the audience here tonight with regards to Shepherd's Landing, that has been continued till January 6th at the same time. And we will need a motion from council to continue the Shepherd's Landing Resolution 2025-16, which is the public hearing on the development agreement, and the second reading of ordinance 2025-14, which was the annexation and rezoning. If we get a motion to continue that to January 6th, I'd appreciate it.
So moved.
Okay. Got a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
First and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Public comment. If there's anybody in the audience want to speak on anything at this time, please come forth. You'll also have time at the end.
Good evening, council members. I just want to take this opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, because this is the last meeting of the year. Also wanted to update you that my favorite bill, HB 197, E-Verify, passed the House committees, and it should pass in the House calendar when they reconvene in January. However, we need a Senate sponsor, so if you know any senators, just pass that along. HJR 209, which is a joint resolution for tax exemption on, they wanted to raise it to $225,000 of the assessed value, but only for property covered by a comprehensive multi-peril property insurance policy. I think this is bad for those who self-insure or cannot afford property insurance. We'll lose our tax exemption. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. If there's any influence you can use up in Tallahassee, I would really appreciate that. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Okay, on the projects, you want to hear about any of the projects? I know Mr. Hernandez isn't here, but I'm fine with the way things are going.
I'm fine waiting.
That's fine. I could always ask later on.
Fine.
Thank you.
Consent agenda. Can I get an approval of the minutes from December 2nd?
I'll make a motion to approve the city council meeting minutes, December 2nd, 2025.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I guess that kind of covers the consent agenda, since that was the only item there. I just realized that. Discussion, accommodation for certified recovery residents, second reading.
Ordinance 2025-18 on second reading, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, amending Chapter 102 of the Land Development Code of the City of Minneola to establish procedures for requests for reasonable accommodation for certified recovery residents and other persons with disabilities, providing for purpose, application, review, appeal, and enforcement procedures, providing for annual recertification, providing for inclusion in the Code of Ordinances, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is an ordinance that is before you, frankly, because we're required to pass it per the legislature. They passed Senate Bill 954 last year, which required all counties and municipalities to essentially insert this language in their code to allow for reasonable accommodations. Frankly, it's something we would do anyway, but it's a good thing to have in our code, so
Okay.
we have no objections.
Anybody in the audience want to speak on this?
I'm sorry, before I didn't give my name, Cheryl Pevlak, 1808 Cary Street. Only a clerical issue, I think. In the agenda item, one of the last provisions of the ordinance states annual recertification. Approvals must be recertified annually by February 1st, with applications submitted 90 days prior to expiration. However, there's nothing about annual recertification in the added section of 102-106 of the Land Development Code. Is this an oversight, or was it dropped? I don't know.
I defer.
I don't know either, honestly. We can go back and look at that if it could be passed, subject to clarifying that oversight. I don't know that that would have to be in the code, the annual certification requirement,
Yeah,
which may be
and
why it's not in the language
I
that
can
was
see
there.
pros and cons to it. I would be against an annual recertification. It's imposing on someone who may be disabled to have someone come out and get a recertification application done. So I would prefer personally for it to be out, but I thought that was an oversight maybe on whoever did the Section 102, 106 edition. So just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get an approval pending clarification of that?
I'll make a motion to approve pending clarification.
Is that good enough, Scott?
That's good enough. yeah.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
First and a second. Any discussion? You good, Joe?
No,
You're not good?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Who's on first? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Resolution 2425.
This one's a little different, and I believe the applicant's here today there he is, Andy's here to tell you the story. As you remember, this was a resolution that you passed over a year ago with regards to the storage center just off of Citrus Grove Road.
With the signs, the lighting?
Yes, the variance got into great detail about the signage and the lighting. We now have, I guess, the benefit of a year of actually living with the project to see it in action. But I think with time, there has become some questions to clarify some of the terms that were done there specifically. I can let Andy, I'll defer to him if he wouldn't mind to give a little more detail. He's surely more involved, more aware of all of this than I am. I think it deals somewhat with regards to some of the lighting and specifying exactly what lights need to be offer on, and then and with regards to the signage, and also a issue with regards to dimmers, I think, that had come up at the time. But anyway, I'll turn it over to Andy. What we're not looking to amend, but we're just looking to, in essence, clarify some of the terms that, admittedly, the language is a little vague because it hadn't been built, nothing had been done at the time, and so, again, now that it's there, we're looking to clarify, making sure that you're okay with what's going on. So.
Unfortunately, most of that was driven by
I thought of that
Councilman
when I heard that-
Hernandez.
yeah.
If he's not here,
Yeah.
we can listen to him, but I think probably it needs to have some dialogue with him, and, because it was mainly him and his neighborhood. I don't really feel comfortable, I don't want to misrepresent what his intention was.
I understand. Andy, just so you know, Mr. Hernandez, Councilman, is not here tonight. He was, as you may remember, lives like across the street and had a lot of neighbors and concerns, and so, but maybe if we can hear a little bit tonight and just bring everybody up to speed, but it might need to wait to take action till the next meeting. when
And I
he's
would
here.
recommend if you can do a conference call or something with him prior to the,
Wouldn't be a bad idea is to
call
discuss
him,
with him.
he can do a conference call prior to the next meeting, so we have to, you can present to us. We'll process, talk to him, bring him up to speed, and then we can assess the next one, okay?
Okay. Andy Gardner with Condev, 921 North Pennsylvania Avenue. Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to come up here. I think as Scott had gone through, I think a lot of, and actually he hit the nail on the head, actually the signs were not in at the time. I think that this was probably drafted because we were waiting on permits to go through the city. So the intent of this is really just to clarify what's there now. I guess really the conversation that we had at the past meeting, what's in place now. I think, Scott, to your point, at least we haven't received any negative feedback on light being generated from the signage, because I think it complies with what was discussed at the last meeting. But really, I think what these modifications were intended to clarify was there was one sign that was allowed to be illuminated from within, and that was the north-facing sign, which really doesn't face anything except there's nothing being developed currently across Citrus Grove Road. Two signs that face east and west were only to be illuminated on the face, and so we had gooseneck lights fabricated, and so those are just shining on the face of the signs. And then as it relates to the dimmers, and I think, and this is my recollection, is that when I was here last, the discussion was if, we could explore the use of dimmers if the lighting became a problem as it was installed. As I mentioned just a moment ago, I don't think there's been a problem with the lights, and so I'm not sure if there's a need to put dimmers on.
I think it was the clarification, those were the open windows at night, they were
Those have been
scared.
extinguished.
But I think that was the spirit of it was to put the dimmers to eliminate those. If that's been extinguished, then maybe that solved the problem, possibly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
That was part of it, but the rear-facing sign was also an issue of it being bright past a certain time of night.
Yeah, I think, and I'm not sure, I can check with the manager. I'm not sure if those lights turn off at a particular time, but I think you're right. I think it was, dim, automatically dim after a certain, maybe it was 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
But yeah, the second and third floor glass corners, the lights that would typically, or that are there to illuminate from within, have been turned off. So those are not on.
I guess what is it making you initiate this? Is it that you need this because you're not fully occupied and you need it to help, or why are we addressing?
Why are we visiting this again?
Yeah, I guess that's my question. I'm kind of concerned. If you're adhering to it now, then why are we addressing it?
Clarification, yeah.
Well, I think it's just to make sure that the language that's in the document is consistent with really what's in place now, and I think what was, at least my understanding of what was agreed to at the last meeting.
What do you think is not in place now?
What the resolution says, in addition, the applicant has agreed to investigate the use of dimmers on all lighting for signs 3 and 7, with the lights dimming automatically after
Okay.
10 p.m. each day.
So you're just trying to figure out if you still got it, if you need to go down and look at dimmers.
Yeah, the language actually in the resolution when it was passed said that they were to install dimmers on all lighting. And so that was. I
So the
think
question
thought
comes
was
up to like, is it good the way it is, or do I need to go down this avenue with dimmers, or are we just? is
Well,
that-
I think, just speaking specifically to that, again, my recollection from the last meeting was that if it became a problem, we would look at using dimmers. It's been in operation for 10 months. We haven't received anything from
haven't.
residents. So I'm not sure if that's needed any longer.
I haven't heard any feedback from me personally, so I think it's, again, I would have to defer to Mr. Hernandez. He sees it all the time, so.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the other thing is why I think I can understand there'd be a concern that they get cited by code enforcement or something for not having dimmers on all of their
Right,
lights.
you don't want that.
So don't want that to happen. And the more time that goes by, there could be changes of hands, new people involved, and so I think the notion was to get
Okay,
things
you're just-
cleaned up now, yeah.
Goes back to Scott's terminology of housekeeping.
Housekeeping, yes.
We have a lot of housekeeping here. So yes, I would like to defer to, do you have any concerns or anything, any thoughts about this?
No, the whole premise of this was that Councilman Hernandez's bedroom window looks directly at that building. And nobody wants to see light pollution in the city. We have dark sky lighting, we have sign height requirements, we have a lot of things that try to minimize the pollution of light within the city. And if people aren't complaining, you're probably under the wire and pretty safe. But if people start complaining, we wanted to be able to come back at you and say, people are not happy, and can we deal with this by putting in light dimmers on the second and third floor so it doesn't light up like a shining beacon in the middle of the night? So if nobody's complaining, I would say you're golden.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you remember, the crux of it was the second and third story floors being lit, and that, I think that was really what brought it, and that's
Yeah.
been resolved, so it's
Correct.
kind of some of the other issues that are.
Okay.
Correct. So I guess we recommending a call, and I'm happy to get on a.
Yeah, if
call
you can just, if you can call Councilman Hernandez or if, work with Mark and y'all can set up a call. Mark, if you can help manage it, you don't need to be on it, Scott, do you? Those two can figure it out, or,
If you'll email me tomorrow, we'll schedule a conference call.
I'm sorry?
If you can email me tomorrow, we'll schedule a
Yep.
conference.
yeah, just to make sure that everything's good. Because it was a lot of, I think we were supporting a lot of
His feedback.
yeah.
Okay.
We all have our own areas that we live in, and we're very protective of our areas. And it's like Ms. Flynn's area, I'm just kind of leave her managing her piece and kind of support that.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sorry about that, sorry.
Okay.
If if Councilmember Hernandez is fine with the revisions?
Yes.
I mean, are you okay with like putting it on the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'm fine with,
Okay.
if he's okay with it, we can do a consent agenda.
Obviously, it'll
Yeah.
be there for you all to read the language.
Right, I
but,
just,
yeah.
if there's any clarifications, and if there's anything that needs to be discussed, or any tweaks, so, does it have to come back on consent, or can we usually,
I would recommend it.
Because
Just
it-
was a
because it's not the
it was a
attorney, it's not the
council
ci-
resolution, yes. I think
Okay.
if any change to the language. The notion here is we're not amending the variance, we're not changing the terms dramatic, we're just trying to clarify, because there was a lot of lights, a lot of questions going on, and so it turns out that the language doesn't address address it
that's fine.
properly. So we're just
Thank you.
clarifying the intents. But I would bring it back at least on the consent agenda.
and in the interim, if you can just go easy on code enforcement on them, Mark, till we get this resolved, and promise him he's not gonna get any nasty letters for lighting.
Nothing going on right now.
Okay, yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Comments on lights, or is this your public comment?
On this. Dave
Any
Yeager,
comments from the audience on this variance
Yes.
clarification?
Dave Yeager, 2750 Purple Meadow Court. Again, code enforcement people go. Councils come and go. So we have a lot of loose ends like this that needs to be clarified. So the developer, if he sells to someone else, we have to make sure that it's a matter of fact so we don't come back. Because you remember, the meeting on light was a long meeting. And so now, if we just go, oh, okay, it's all right, and, we don't, but it needs to be, it needs to be on the consent agenda,
Well-
brought back, but it needs to be super clarified because people come and go. Perfect example is the automotive shop used to be an oil change with a car wash. Well, now it's an automotive shop. Well, that wasn't the intentions normally when we approved it years ago, about 15 years ago. So again, it needs to be super clear, so there's no, this
Yeah.
code enforcement looks at it different, you guys look at it different, and then we're back again. Thank you.
I think he has a good point on some of this housekeeping, because as the gas station, we're going through that process, Walmart coming up. I know we have property in the city that I'm not sure is zoned allowed to have trailers on it or being for RV storage, but it's being used for RV storage. Some of that stuff probably needs to get cleaned up, because if not, they'll be making an example of, if you do go to court, they'll be like, well, y'all don't enforce this, or you don't enforce this, or you don't enforce this, why are you singling me out for this? So I think it's just a time that a lot of the housekeeping pieces need to get cleaned up. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Final public comment.
Cheryl Pavlaka, 1808 Cary Street. I received this in the mail today, and I just need clarification. Is it just the payment method that's changing? Will I still get my bill emailed to me?
Yeah, we recently spoke, we're making some changes to our system at a previous council meeting. The payment portal, the company we were using, we're changing to a different company so that you'll still get your bills emailed to you. The payments system will be different.
So if I don't use the payment portal and I come see the lovely ladies in the office, nothing's changing? Okay, because that wasn't clear here, and it scared me because it says you'll log in using the PIN number located on your bill. Well, I only get it online, so if I can't get it, how am I going to get it?
Yeah, so right now, there's a different vendor, and so we're switching to the vendor that does our finance software, so that as you pay it, it automatically updates your account instead of somebody going in manually and doing all of it.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Wally Swarko, 802 South Main Avenue. I sent each of you a text message with the parking violations. It was intended for information purposes only. It's nice to reside in a city that works, and I'll explain in a couple of sentences why. Is this the sin that Michelle cannot get home with this parking that goes on there? And you've heard me talking about this for over 5 years. And that is, it's a residential home turned into a vacation rental. The people do not reside in this country. They have been booked for 2 months, and they're booked through May 1st at $245 a night. And we're the ones that have to tolerate it. And I had crossed paths with a couple of deputies or law officers in Claremont. And we got on a subject about talking, and they said to me, how come your Lake County doesn't enforce, I'm going to say it for the record, although you got a copy in my text, Florida Uniform Traffic Code 316.1945(2). And it's basically, they told me they use that all the time in Claremont when sidewalks are blocked and pedestrians cannot cross. And I was hoping that Bill Reed would have been here tonight. I was going to talk to him before the meeting to let him know I was going to bring it up and ask Bill Reed, why don't we do this? And I said, the analogy I use is if you know you can speed down a road and you're never going to get stopped, well, just keep on speeding. And as I said, this has been going on for 6 years, and there's not much you can do at this point. But the one deputy who came out, all of the deputies that come out, I mean, I cannot say enough about them. They possess a tremendous amount of compassion, empathy, professionalism. And they said, gee, sir, we've been here many times before. And I said, well, can I ask you a loaded question? Why don't you issue citations? You don't even issue warnings. And they know next door they can get away with it. He obviously didn't have an answer. That's probably what he's been instructed to do. But, and then we were walking home from the trail, and they were doing, on Lake Minneola Drive, just past the Claremont and Minneola division lines, one of the deputies in his car stopped us when we were walking and said, "Hey, I heard you had another call today." And he said, "Well, you know how many times I've been to your house?" I said, "I know, I remember you. You're the guy who's devoted 25 years in the Bronx in law enforcement, and now you're here at Lake County for 6 years." And I sprung this on him. He kind of shrugged his shoulders. So why am I bringing this up? Is it something, maybe the next step we should do, asking Bill Reed to look at it, ask it? And I know they have more important things to do than deal with a sidewalk infraction. But until somebody walks in those shoes where they cannot maneuver and get around, it's a major hardship. And that bike weighs 65 pounds, and I'm proud to say she puts 1,000 miles on in Wisconsin and 1,000 miles in Florida in a 12-month period. You cannot go around those vehicles. In a photo that I showed you, the average person could walk around it. Or two-wheeler, you could probably slim by, but you can't do it with a three-wheeler. You'll tip over and fall. So I'm going to leave Bill Reed a message to call me. I hope he does, to ask him that simple question: why is it not enforced? And with a closing note, I've had discussion with both Mark and Christine. And the ordinance that Scott and Jennifer worked so hard on to author it, custom author it for fairness for the city, a formal letter was sent to the family out of the country, warning notation about this. So what you all approved, not only for us, but for the good of the city, it's working. Let's hope that they'll do something. But over the weekend, having 18 people there with all those cars, and at least they knocked it off at 11 o'clock, otherwise I would have called again. But it was, I mean, when you're amongst friends, family, whatever, you're having a good time, people are talking, you talk loud. But what about the residents that live there? That is the biggest negative that you heard me say for years with vacation rentals. So anyway, I just merely wanted to give you just a face-to-face update. And again, thank you for what you did with that ordinance, because now it gives us ammunition with justifiable facts. And I close by, every time a deputy comes out, I always say to them, when you look at this, am I correct in my assessment? Do you think it's legitimate that you should be here? Do you think it's legitimate you should go there and ask them to remove the car? 100% of the time, they always say, absolutely. This Deputy Ross that came out, he was in the Marines, because I had asked him, I said, you caught my eye, the way you're presenting yourself and conducting. He said, I've been in the Marines for 6 years. And he too said, I've been to your home many times. I don't understand why this keeps going on. So I just wanted to share a little bit. Thank you.
Any comments?
Yes, Wally, before you leave, while you were speaking, I did reach out to Lieutenant Reed. He did mention, and I'm going to apologize because I thought you had reached out to him on Sunday. Otherwise, I would have done it myself so that at least for this meeting, we can come to some type of resolution. So that's one. Two, I did reach out to him, and he asked if you can please give him a call, that he will be more than glad to speak with you regarding the issue. Okay?
Good. An afterthought came to mind. I asked the officers in Claremont, well, what do you do? I said, chances are 95% of these vehicles are rental cars. And he said, well, we still issue the citation, even though it's a rental car. Eventually, it's going to go right back to that date when that vehicle, by whom it was rented to.
It does.
But anyway, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you have anything, Councilman?
No, thank you.
Yeah, maybe we should consider planting a sign right at this Airbnb that says no blocking the driveway. Stick it right in front of the house. And people coming from far and wide away who have different rules that they live by would get the message immediately upon pulling into the driveway that there's no blocking the sidewalk.
I think we had, when we were doing the ordinance, we had thought about rules and regulations and posting them outside, but then that did not pass for some reason. I don't remember what, but we did discuss it. And maybe it was, we can't do it, or there was some reason why we couldn't do it, but,
Well, we can certainly put a city sign in the right-of-way that says no blocking the sidewalk.
I mean, he's
The
got a
house
good,
you rented, here's the sign.
I mean, he's got a good point.
Don't
They
have to
actually
depend
do
on the
that
owners.
for parking, like for events in downtown Claremont, and also
yeah.
on the trails. I mean, just a little sign we could start with that first.
I mean, I'm fine with it. It doesn't, so whatever you feel that we can do, if you can work with, does everybody have any objections? If there's anything that we can do to proactively prevent this, I'm fine with it.
Just my opinion.
But please,
opinion.
please realize, if we go down this route, and you have a sign that says, don't block the driveway, then every other subdivision in this city is gonna say, why aren't you blocking in, like in my neighborhood, it's not that big because we have longer driveways, but you get in the hills, you get two cars, they block the driveway, so why in Old Minneola do you not get to block the driveway? So we can go this route, but it'll be just like the speed humps and everything like that. Well, why are you allowing them? And then is it gonna be enforced? And so we just have to, can you all, I think right now, Pam, which I agree, Joe, and if one of y'all want to be in the conversation with Lieutenant Reed,
Yeah, if we
to
can
come up
start.
with a solution of what is, because it's basically illegal to block any sidewalk anywhere in the city. But then are we going to be writing tickets for blocking sidewalks? That's going to be the question, because I know they block them in my neighborhood.
I mean, they've blocked them on my block, and I'll be straightforward with you. The deputy has gone to that person's house, and they no longer block the driveway.
Yeah,
And
but-
also, they have come to my house because my camper was in my driveway so that we could wash it and then bring it back to storage. And a piece of it was actually hitting the sidewalk. So,
They block it in mine at one particular house because it's a downhill, and the car is so low that if it goes to go down the hill into the garage, that the front spoiler blocks, so they park both of the cars blocking the garage, blocking the sidewalk. So I haven't seen that in years, but I have seen that in the past. So maybe you just get Lieutenant Reed and we come up with some type of what our next steps is to try to prevent it.
Yeah, and I think
And-
obviously, speaking with the owner of the property, and code enforcement can do that, they've already, sent a letter, as was mentioned. I think that can be a perfect avenue. The problem is that the people that are violating and parking on the sidewalk are here today, gone tomorrow. These are renters that, so the next one's gonna park and that they may not be affected by it. But I think getting with the owner, and
Well,
maybe
can we-
they can post notices in the property with the rules that,
Can we do the
remind
same
them of
thing,
those
Mark,
things.
that we dealt with, I know, because you helped me try to manage the piece at 7-Eleven. Do you put a sign that says cars blocking the driveway will be towed? And you post it, and then somebody can call the tow company, and they'll just hook it up and tow it. There's a sign there. I think there's lots of options.
So
I don't know how
public-
extreme you want to go,
It's
but.
a creative idea, but the public and the private properties are handled differently. But it's
That's
creative.
fine, I'm just saying,
I think there's many different
so,
ways we can handle this, but I think first and foremost, we need to talk to Lieutenant Reed.
so
And
do
I'll
you
be
want to?
more than glad
Be a
to.
part of that conversation?
Absolutely.
So, if you can bring Pam in with Wally, and if you can set up a meeting up with Lieutenant Reed.
Wally said he's gonna call him, I think, already, so.
So, okay. Okay. Anybody else in the audience have any comments? Okay, bring it back to Mark.
Couple of things, just a reminder, at 10:30 on Friday, we have the ribbon cutting for the Hancock Road extension. Also, on that same day at 4:30, we're gonna try really hard to start right at 4:30 sharp, to have, the ribbon cutting for the building, next door. Also, for Christmas, with New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, solid waste to be off. Normally, we handle it differently, and per contract, we handle it differently. One of the things they'd like to try is to move Thursday's collection, which is a holiday, they wouldn't collect normally, collect it on Friday, and then those that are collected on a Friday, move them to Saturday, because that next Monday, and we're working on balancing the routes out. The Monday, Thursday route has gotten many more houses than the other route, and so that route on holiday runs is very, very heavy. It'll be hard to complete it on Monday. So if it's okay with y'all, we'd like to try it, see how it works. But we are in the process of balancing out. Some people's days, collection days are gonna change, so we can balance out the routes a little more evenly. We're gonna have to do that with the water system too. Cycle 1 and 2, we're gonna have to change those up a little bit, because they're getting, one's a little bit larger than the other, quite a bit larger, so.
Anything else?
No, that's okay with everybody.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
We'll give it a shot, and we'll get it put out there and let people know.
I'll just put my can out there. When it gets picked up, it gets picked up.
Okay.
Anything for the city manager?
No, thank you.
Anything for the city manager?
Quick status update, Mark. While we got that beautiful plaque, thank you for Mary Jane at the library, where are we with Frankie's for the,
That is in the queue. We haven't done it yet, but we'll get that done.
thank you.
Mark, the Hancock Road extension, right now it's open up to what appears to be the end of Del Webb. Is the road going to be open from the end of Del Webb all the way to 455?
Yes, the current plan is for it to be extended all the way to 455 as a two-lane roadway.
But at this point in time, the grand opening is just a piece that Lennar built, which would be from Del Webb to the roundabout.
From 561A to Sugarloaf Mountain Road.
So Friday's ribbon cutting is not the roundabout to 455. That's being developed by somebody else. This is Lennar's. Kind of like when your road was built for education, and they did the ribbon cutting for Hanover did it. Same concept. Lennar built it, so they wanted a ribbon cutting.
Citrus Grove Phase 3 and the Turnpike we did too on the.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? I had one thing, but now I have two. Because I saw the dented car out there, so I see one of our cars got hit.
Someone backed into a post.
That's fine.
Like it was a single vehicle accident versus a.
Yeah, well, mine was
Concrete-filled
mine was
bollard.
worse than that, and they totaled it out, so I guess I see we need, I think we're beginning a new car. Something can be done with the cars. There's just a bunch of cars parked out here. I thought they were gonna be parked in the back or one they parked at Public Works. Just having all the white cars out here. But mainly, more importantly than that, is some of these cars look tired. Can they get spruced? Some of the stickers are faded. When you put these cars out on the road, that is a representation of Minneola. And when it's a faded out decal and it's been there for so long, can we do something to make our things look a little better?
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because when I did work for a sign company, it was more visible for me to see stuff like that.
Yeah, I
And-
just look at some of the, and I mean, I'm fine, but I do like the little Maverick trucks are kind of nice to have. Those are kind of nice. Those look like they were efficient and stuff like that. So that I'm fine with, but just some of the cars look tired.
Sure.
Can they get cleaned up. I don't mean detailed out and spinning wheels or anything like that, but just a nice decal on it would be nice. But that's pretty much it. Scott, anything?
Nothing this evening.
Anything for the
Christmas.
attorney?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Pam, anything?
Yes, I want to thank Grant and the staff for Christmas parade. It was awesome. It's a great turnout, a lot of fun, and thank you, Pat, for bringing your golf cart. That was definitely a hit. I heard more about your golf cart than the actual parade in general. I'd like to see if maybe, I don't know, maybe doing like a best float contest or something, just something to kind of really get people more involved and wanting to be displaying their business, their trailer, their float, and it just encouraging them to be a part of it next year. So just a thought. And of course, I have other thoughts, but those I'll just ponder with you guys.
Yeah, that could encourage more participation. We had one of the float, Chris Singh had a really nice, he worked really hard on the float, but then he had a medical issue and couldn't bring it out, but he had a pretty fancy float he created.
Perfect. Thank you. But it was great. Thank you very much. That's it, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas.
Just some housekeeping, like Scott likes to call it. I noticed that at our last meeting, I wanted to bring this out on record that I never intentionally miss anything when it comes to the city council. The budget hearings that were on September 11th and 16th, I was on a week cruise to Alaska. So I just wanted that on record, that I was on vacation. I did not intentionally miss those meetings.
Yeah.
And that's all.
I've got nothing. Okay. With that said, can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.